Good morning, PASW, staff, clients, and yes, friends joining us, if there are friends joining us, people from all around. Welcome to Tuesday's class. Hope you guys had a nice weekend. That was very fun seeing those film results on Friday. Maybe we'll take a week off and maybe we'll do something next week. But yes, what a way to open a Monday, right? That music was by somebody who's nicknamed the King of the Mambo. And today we are going to be talking about Pérez Prado. And he sure was the King of the Mambo. Famous band leader, pianist, and composer, arranger, and he really popularized the mambo in the 1950s. Now, where did we hear the mambo before? What musical was the mambo? In West Side Story, right? Remember? We heard with Bernstein's score of the mambo, and Bernstein, I'm sure, was influenced by, the real mambo. Not that his wasn't the real one, but, Pérez Prado was Cuban, so he actually came, it was in his soul and his blood. And we'll talk about his life, and in particular, maybe 3 or 4 songs that are really, really famous. He was extremely famous. I actually didn't realize how many number 1 hits and gold records and all that stuff. It's really fun music. So we'll talk about Pérez Prado today. So he was born in Cuba. I'm kind of wearing my Cuban shirt today a little bit, right? So, and he studied classical piano in his early childhood, which I didn't know. I kind of thought he was like a Ricky Ricardo band leader, where it's like, make everyone else do all the work, and I'll just kind of, because we'll see clips of him, and he kind of just dances, and it's hilarious. But he actually did do these arrangements and wrote a lot of the music. So I don't know. At least for me, big props for that. That's really cool. So after studying classical piano, he starts forming bands, and in 1949 he moves to Mexico. He lives and dies in Mexico, so he lives most of his life in and out of Mexico. So leaves Cuba, forms his own band, and starts kind of these mambo arrangements. Now, mambo was he didn't really start that genre. Mambo music started in the late 30s. But he popularized it, and he made it, a lack of a better word, more fun, more sexy, groovier. Pérez Prado comes in and takes the genre, like we've seen with other composers and other artists, and says, "Hey, I like this genre. I'm going to completely make it my own now, and reinvent it in a way." And that's what he did. When he started creating his own band, he in the 50s, he did an upbeat adaptation of the Cuban dance-on. Now, the dance-on is like a Cuban dance. So if you listen to it, the arrangements are extremely difficult. Now, I played trumpet, and as we've talked about, I practiced all the time. I was pretty good. I could never play these trumpet charts. I mean, extremely intricate arrangements. It sounds like fun dance music, and it is. But boy, musically, from a musical, these guys had chops like no other. I mean, their sophistication in the charts and the technique in the playing, whether it's the saxophones, the staccato, trumpets, the tonguing of the trumpets, like we talked about the Clifford Brown and Lee Morgan, triple tonguing, double tonguing, to use these jazz-like, classical-like techniques in mambo dance music. It's completely crazy. So harmonically, it's not that intricate. It's 1, 2, 3 chords, maybe 4. But that's many of them. I was counting. It's just 2 chords, but it's got a great groove, and it's the arrangement, right? It's the feel and the arrangement. And then, and his famous grunt. So after he established himself, he would have this grunt, which sounded like, ugh, it's kind of him like it's translated to kind of like say it or give it out. So he's urging the brass section to, yeah, it doesn't sound as good translated. Give it out, say it. But that's what that grunt is. Much like Louis Prima when we were talking about him talking to the band members during the song. Let him go, let him go. Just being in the moment of the fun of the music, and that spontaneity a little bit was really cool. However, that took, hours and hours and thousands of hours of rehearsal with the band, where they could move, they could do choreography. I mean, it looks fun, but man, talk about a ton of work and rehearsal and hours practiced individually and then coming together as a band. I think that's what made them so successful, is that they weren't just up there playing, instrument. I mean, they were a tight ensemble. So kind of the first song we'll listen to is Mambo Number 8, and this is from the movie Cha 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 Boom. I'm reading it because it's like I could barely find it, and I think it's probably terrible, but it's from 1956, but it's very cool. Take a look at him, and this is Prado and his band. So very fun to watch. Again, he's just dancing around. But you know what? When you've put together the band, did the arrangements, you have a right to dance around. It's fine. It looks a little funny now, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, this guy is class and style and slick. I mean, like he's a badass. If we can speak informally like that. And then the second song was a huge hit, which he didn't write, but he made famous, and that's Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White. And this is a song that my dad's dad would make my dad play on trumpet at parties all the time. I don't know if my dad particularly liked doing it, but every time there was a party, my grandfather would say, Gilbert, get the horn out and do Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White. It's a very famous trumpet number, although, like I said, it wasn't, Prado made it famous. It was just a regular kind of song before. And but he made it very famous with this, with the trumpet. And I think my dad would sometimes, on purpose, fluff it, like go way over the top of just, kind of like elongating it, because this is the song. So you can see how, I mean, it could be interpreted sloppy, because you're waiting for the trumpet player to finish so the band can start the groove. And we're waiting in space for a while. Okay. Okay, now we can start the rhythm. I think my dad that was his way of kind of teasing with his dad, like, do I have to keep playing this? I should have asked my dad about that story before this interview, but we're all busy here. So, but that was a huge famous song. It's probably a song that you guys recognize. So, really, really fun. Then in 1958, an original Prado song, Patricia, became the last record to go to #1. And I love this song. And I'll show you a little scene from a movie, La Dolce Vita by Fellini. We'll do a class on Fellini. maybe my second favorite director. And this is a very famous scene, very iconic in 1960 when the movie came out. Very scandalous. I won't show you the whole scene because it's still a little scandalous. But they use Patricia in this, and it's they're at a party, and it's kind of this faux striptease that's kind of funny. But here's a little scene from Fellini's La Dolce Vita.
Quello lo voglio io, via! Perché in fondo, vedi Marcello, tu hai fatto un bel affare con sta macchina. È una macchina meravigliosa, vedrai che è una bella...
Great movie if you ever want to check it out, La Dolce Vita. Marcello Mastroianni is one of the coolest guys in the world, so we'll talk more about that. But yeah, they use Patricia in it, and then the other song we'll talk about is we're kind of going backwards, is Mambo Number 5, which is probably... That's really what gave him the nickname, the King of the Mambo. And remember we were talking about one-hit wonders the other week. Well, we didn't mention Lou Bega, who had is a German guy, actually, not Cuban at all, but German one-hit wonder with Mambo Number 5. If you remember this song.
Monica in my life, a little bit of Erica by my side, a little bit of Rita's all I need, a little bit of Tina's what I see, a little bit of Sandra in the sun, a little bit of Mary all night long, a little bit of Jessica, here I am, a little bit of you makes me your man.
So he took elements of Prado Prado's version of Mambo Number 5. I have to say, I love Lou Bega's version. I think this song is so good. It's so cool. I mean, I still listen to it today. So that's Prado Prado. What's interesting about his legacy is that as a band leader, he took the mambo out of these dance halls, little dance halls, and made it into something bigger, into international mainstream. You know, just like jazz was in little clubs, right? People like Miles and Coltrane, they made it. They were so good at what they were doing, is that they popularized it, where the whole world took notice. And Prado Prado did that with mambo music, where the whole world took notice of, man, this is great music. We want to dance to this. We want this in our movies. And he was an extremely successful guy, and so that's legacy. That's taking something, an idea, perfecting it, practicing it, doing it, and then doing it so well where the world takes notice and people want to hire you and they want to pay you and they want to hear you because you offer a product, you make them feel good. So one of my favorite band leaders of all time, Prado Prado. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a musical, and I won't tell you what it is. You're going to have to wait. And but a lot of work to do this week for sure. But it'll be fun. So miss you, love you, Stephen Jackson, love all the clients. Can't list them all by names because that would take another class. But yes, okay. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.